Hey there, boys and girls of the YouTube world. Today, the Duff dog and I are going to show you my new to me 1972 Chevrolet Monte Carlo. As many of you may know, this was my very good friend Shane's car. He unfortunately lost the battle to suicide in May of this year. I was in contact with his mother, and about a month and a half ago, I purchased this car from the estate. So this particular car has been in the county since the 1990s. Yeah, that's right, going back to the 1900s. Anyway, Kenny owned this car. It was his first car. His parents had split up, and this was his dad's way of paying child support, is what he told me. Was he bought him this car in California because they had connections in California, brought it up here. They restored it at one point. It was rear-ended. I don't know if that's when the restoration came about, but anyway, this car has a lot of local history. Shane and I had been looking for a Chevelle for him for a long time. He wanted a 68 to 72 Chevelle, and everything we found was either an absolute basket case, a huge project, or it was just way more money than he wanted to spend. He just wanted a driver, a nice driver like we all want, but he didn't find anything. They just don't exist out there apparently. And we looked at a couple Monte Carlos, but none of them tickled his fancy. So anyway, fast forward a couple years, about 2 years ago, Kenny listed this car in Facebook Marketplace for $10,000. I'd kind of known the car. I knew that he had the car. I never looked at it up close because it was never for sale. It was his high school car. It was his first car. I assumed it was never for sale. But anyway, I was in Oklahoma. I can't remember if Shane messaged me or I messaged him, but we messaged each other. And I told him, I said, you need to go buy that car for yourself, and if you don't want it, I'll take it. Otherwise, I'm gonna find somebody else at home, because I was in Oklahoma to go get that car and buy it because it's a great deal. I knew enough about the car to know that for $10,000, it needed to be in somebody's possession. So long story short, Shane went and bought the car. He brought the car home. It had some American racing, I don't know what you call them, modular, ugly wheels. He drove it. I don't know if he made it a week. So I got back here, saw the wheels and tires on the car. I was like, white letters, you gotta change the car, you gotta make it your car. I happen to have this exact set of wheels and tires all mounted up, ready to go on my station wagon. And I said, let's go ahead and put those on your car. The lug nuts are all the same. Let's see how they look. And you can drive it. And you know, if we wanna change something up, we can get different wheels, different tires. And anyway, they stuck. Shane knew I knew how to make a car look good, and he liked it, and he put them on there. I bought a different set to put on my car. I've still got those wheels and tires on a Nova out back that's 72 that we're probably gonna do something with someday when I get super excited for Novas. So what is this car? This is a 1972 Chevrolet.
It's a Monte Carlo.
It has a vinyl top, which is very, very common. It has a small block Chevrolet and a turbo 350 automatic, 308 gears. Again, super common. Factory power steering, factory power brakes, factory air conditioning, maybe not so common. But the neat part about this car is that it's got bucket seats and a console, which is kind of rare for these cars. Probably not as rare as a big block, and definitely not as rare as a 4-speed. You almost hardly ever come across these cars that are a big block, and you never come across them that are a 4-speed. Obviously I would have bought the car since it was Shane's, but the bucket seats and the console is pretty much what sealed the deal when he bought it and when I bought it from him. As far as I know, this car is bone stock. It's got dual exhaust and it's got wheels and tires. It drives great, it floats down the road, the interior is very presentable. I don't really have much for plans for the car. It runs and drives really well. He did a couple things. He worked on the fuel gauge, which still needs a little bit of dialing in. It only goes to 5/8 of a tank. It doesn't go all the way full. It's only got the AM radio, so that needs to be updated to something Bluetooth to make it a little bit more drivable. I'd love to get cruise control on it and air conditioning, but we can live without those. It does smoke a little bit when you start it up, so it needs valve guides. He didn't like how much power it had. It's got an Edelbrock on it. I think Quadrajet would wake it up just a little bit. Overdrive would be nice, but it does have 308 gears, so it goes down the road pretty well. If I was to put an overdrive in it, I would probably go to like a 373 gear. He always wanted an LS, but I really hate to mess with it because it works so dang good. I don't want to sell this car, but he always wanted a Chevelle. So if somebody wants to own this car and they've got a Chevelle and they're willing to trade for this car straight up, or maybe a little bit of cash either way, depending on the deal, I would entertain the deal because Shane always wanted a Chevelle, and so I think it would be neat to turn this car into a Chevelle. But otherwise, this car is not for sale. There's no cash pricing to buy this car. The only way that I will part with this car at this time is to trade for a 68 to 72 Chevelle. That being said, let's take a little bit closer look at Shane's Monte Carlo. Duff, do you know much about Monte Carlos? We're new to this. So this is a 72. It's got what I think are ugly marker lights after looking at it. 70s have the nice round ones that are in the bumper. It's got some battle scars. Like I said, it was this guy's first car and it's been restored, but there's a few bumps and bruises in the paint. It's got 215/65 Cooper Cobra white letters in on 15x7 American Racing Torque Thrust on the front, and the good old tried and true 275/60/15 on 15x8 on the back. I always thought it was super cool. It's got this fade paint job. I think that was on the car when he got it, but obviously they carried it back over when they restored it. It's got this green final top. Judging by the looks of things, I don't think it's been touched in the restoration process. At some point, this is gonna need some attention. You can see that there's some rust coming through the backside. And typical of all these cars, especially vinyl top cars, it's rusty by the back window. It's actually quite soft in a couple of spots in the middle, unfortunately. It does need a speaker deck in the back. It flops in the wind. It's got some Pioneer 6x9s in said speaker deck, so it must have had a stereo unit at one point. And some of the rust on the vinyl top is bleeding through towards the trunk. There's also a little bit of rust in the rear quarters, and there's a slight ding in the trim around the rear wheels as well. And the bumpers have dings, and the stainless has dings, and there's wear in the interior, and it's just a great driver. I don't want to restore this car. I just want to drive it. I want to take care of it. I want to preserve it, and I just want to pay tribute to Shane, and I want to enjoy it and think about him so much because him and I go back a long time. He's probably the longest running friend that I ever had. I don't know anybody that I've known longer than him. And he was with on so many of the deals. He helped clean up an estate when I bought a bunch of cars, where I got the Sprint car. He went with me to Aberdeen to look at White Lightning when I bought that. And pretty much every car that it seems like I touch, I can remember something of him. Either he was with when I got it, or he helped me work on it, or he went and picked it up, or he helped me haul it home, or he picked up some parts in the process. But pretty much every car that I got here, it seems like he had something to play with it. We were pretty good friends, and so it was tough to see him go, but I'm glad that the family was willing to let me purchase his car and to think about him every time that I drive it. So I know Kenny had this car for 30 years and Shane only had this car for like a year and a half, but it's gonna be Shane's Monte Carlo forever. You guys know that I lower everything, but this thing's got a pretty good stance. We might bring it down a little bit, but I actually like the way that it sits. And I also don't want to mess up the way that this thing rides, because this thing, Chin has driven it. I've had other friends drive it. This thing just absolutely floats down the road. I don't know if it's the coil suspension or the longer wheelbase, but these are really great cars. They just drive really well. So I don't know how everybody thinks of these cars, but kind of Nova was the entry level, and then Camaro was kind of the dedicated muscle car. Chevelle was kind of in between, a little bit muscle and a little bit more enjoyable, classier type of car. I mean, more of a driver. But to me, the Monte Carlo is what the doctor's kid or the lawyer's kid would have it. It was mainly, you know, it was not like sports luxury, but it was almost like a performance luxury automobile. I don't know what you'd call it, because you could get the bucket seats and you could get an SS, you get a big block, you get a 4-speed, but it's just classier. Most of the cars had power steering, power brakes, a lot of them had air conditioning, tilt, all that good stuff. So yeah, it's kind of a neat car. You don't see nearly as many of these as you do Camaros or Novas or Chevelles. So that's what's kind of neat, is it's a little bit different. It's also neat because it's green on green. There's a lot of green going on here, but it's got a pretty classy interior. DB calls them Corvette buckets because they got the push button on the back like the Corvette's got. I'm pretty sure this is original interior. If not, it's been recovered into original style. You can see there's a little bit of wear on the driver's seat. Okay, a lot of bit of wear. It's, you know, pulling apart at the seams, but it's super presentable. It's still got the original Chevrolet floor mats, got the original style loop green carpet. It's just basically untouched. The dash hasn't been cut up for a CD player. There you can see the factory air conditioning. It's got the factory console. It doesn't have the tachometer, which was an option. It does have tilt, which is kind of convenient. I mean, I don't use it a ton, but it's neat to say you got it. There is a few holes in the headliner. The dash pad is in really great condition. The armrest's got some tears in it. But Shane did round up an armrest. I think it's a shade off on the green. It's a little bit lighter. Not quite the right green. It's Got the remote mirror on the driver's side. Of course, no mirror on the passenger side. The odometer says 16,180. I gotta believe that that's 116,000. You can definitely tell by the brake pedal she's got a few miles on her. This left quarter got hit pretty hard at one point in a collision, so this quarter was replaced. And there's no rust in this side, and they actually did a really nice job. You can see inside the trunk. They did a really great job of fixing that up. Now let me show you the inside. Let's show you the grease ball 350 under the hood. So here it is. I think he did put a new Napa battery in it. He put an alternator in it. And it looks like he put brake calipers on it at one point. But other than that, he didn't touch much. It doesn't have any headers. It's got an Edelbrock carburetor and an Edelbrock open element air cleaner. I don't think they had HEI. That was already done when he got it. You gotta love the old Monte Carlos with their super deep fan shroud up here. It does look like all the AC stuff is there, the compressor's there, but it is seized up. So I wonder if we put a compressor on it, if we could get this thing working again. That would be pretty sweet to have AC in this hot rod. It does have an Edelbrock intake. The valve cover gaskets leak ever so slightly. It came with a set of those. And of course the turbo 350 leaks a little bit like they all do. So let's take you guys for a little test drive in the old Monte Carlo. It needs a cup holder. You can set it on top of the console here, but it doesn't set very well there. Listen how good this thing starts. Didn't even touch the gas pedal, and it idles. If you're looking for a carburetor to put on a car that's just a driver, the old Edelbrock, I think they're 600s, the 1406 with the electric choke, highly recommended. They just work. They're very conducive to sitting around all winter like we have here, because we can't drive our cars in the winter. But even if you do drive them in the winter, they work good. But some carburetors, like Holley's, they dry up. There's a bunch of gaskets below the fuel line, or the fuel level, and they just leak. But Edelbrock's on. Once in a while, oh, you're gonna spill my coffee. Once in a while, the needle and seat will stick, or the float. Give me a little taparoo. I've had a couple accelerator pumps put in them. I have yet to find one that's worn out. They don't make a ton of power. You can also get them in a 500 version if you got like a little V6 or something, or a real small block, and you can get a 750. I think you can get maybe an 800 too, but anyway, the 600's pretty good. So it's the first full week of October here, and we don't have frost, but the next county over does. So a little chilly in the morning. This thing does have a heater and it works. I've had to use it on the drive home some evenings, so yeah, it's pretty good. I like these seats, they're comfortable. Unfortunately, these old cars, there's no like lumbar support obviously, but you can't adjust the backs like you can on late models. We're spoiled, so you just gotta sit like this. You can't tip it ahead or tip it back. So that kind of sucks. The back seats, I've actually sat back there, no extracurricular activities. DB, when I bought it, I had him and his girlfriend help me get it home, and I had to drop him back off, and I said, DB, you want to drive? He's like, no. So his girlfriend's like, I'll drive. So she got to take us for a little drive in this thing, and I rode in the back seat like a gentleman while those two sat up front. So yeah, I've let a bunch of people drive this thing, and that's what the plan is with this thing, to just drive it, enjoy it. I've been keeping it inside because that's what Shane was doing. Kenny, when he had it, it was outside like all summer, you know. So I don't think it would really hurt it to sit outside. That rust under the roof is not going to get any better, but I just don't have enough room inside to keep it inside, but we'll keep it inside over the winter for sure. But who knows, maybe next summer we'll get it out and we'll just leave it outside all summer, and when the roof gets bad enough, I guess we'll rip it all apart and do some rust repairs or scrap it. Just kidding, we won't scrap it. It's a nice car, it deserves to sit inside, but at the same time it's not gonna hurt it that much to sit outside, and it's not an absolute perfect car. It's a driver, Duff says. The Triple D, Duff's daily driver. The best part of waking up, Folgers in your cup.
Best part of waking up.
A little bit of wind noise on Duff's side. There's a slight rattle in the speaker deck area back there. The speaker deck is just kind of sitting there. I need to do one of those. That thing flops in the wind when you're driving with the windows down, which is what you do most of the time. So I'd like to do something with the speaker deck, and at the same time I'd like to get a radio in it because it's relatively quiet in here. And that's a couple things that I found about cars is if you got a car that's got a radio and air conditioning, that's going to be the car that you drive. Reggie's that car. I think Reggie's the only one that I got this. The Cowboy Cadillac's AC quit working at the end of the summer, but those are the only two I got with AC. But yeah, and then you put cruise control, overdrive, fuel injection, and then yeah, those are the best ones. Right. Apparently Duff says the back seats more comfortable, pretty decent, or he's sick of listening to me ramble on. So anyway, yeah, I think radio, I don't know, AC would be nice, but god dang it, it used to be like $1,500. Now it's $2,500 for Vintage Air. So if anybody's got any contacts at Vintage Air that would hook us up with some air conditioning at a lower rate, that would be fan-friggin-tastic. If you put a stereo in these, make sure it's Bluetooth. That way you can just connect to your phone. Because if you're like us, you don't have crap for radio stations. That way you can take calls. Just get with the technology. I bought one of those custom auto sounds for my 71 F100, and I saved $80 and didn't do that. So you got to plug in a cord every time you want to hook up your phone. No, that sucks. And buy the good speakers, and you're probably going to have to buy an amp to get enough volume on them. We got one of those in the Cowboy Cadillac, and same deal with the crew cab 8.1 flatbed pickup. You just got to crank it to the moon. They don't put out enough power. You need more power. More power! Which I think means you need an amp. I don't know a ton about stereos, but I do know I like listening to music. I usually, like in the Roadsters and a lot of the other stuff, I put in my Bluetooth earbuds and just listen to my music. If somebody calls, I hear it that way. Then it blocks out the wind noise. But also then you can't hear the sounds from the road or the drivetrain, stuff like that, so you don't know if you got issues with your old car. Which, what old car has issues? The beams are about off. Roger over there is usually one of the last guys going, and I'm guessing that's one of his worst fields. Looks like it's pretty full of sloughs. But yeah, I've seen quite a few people post to the old Snapchat that they're done with the bean harvest 2K25. Now everybody will be rolling into corn shortly. Fall is in full swing in North Dakota. I need to go out and winterize a bunch of my cars, throw some bounce sheets in them, and that's about it. That's about all I do. I don't change oil. You know, I put them inside, but you know you're supposed to change oil before you put them away because there's moisture in the oil you've been running. But I don't, because I don't know the last time I'm going to drive them. Drive them as long as I can. Some of them even stay out all winter if the winters are decent enough and we can drive them. And then, yeah, the bounce sheets. And it would be ideal to put non-ethanol gas in them, but I run ethanol in them all the time. And, yeah, avgas, stuff like that would be good. Because ethanol's bad, apparently. But I don't have any problems with ethanol. Like, super minimal, if at all. So, ethanol is the way for me. What are you doing? Sniffing the window? Smelling that harvest dust? Man, the harvest moon has been solid lately. Got a good picture for the old Snapchat last night. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get somebody with thumbs to ride back about where Duff is at and figure out what's rattling back there. The brakes are good, the steering is great, doesn't pull, doesn't seem like it's wearing tires, the wheel is aligned, tranny shift's good. It does leave a couple of little small spots on the floor. I don't know if it's the transmission or the engine. It's not enough to worry about. It's kind of like how the valve guides puff a little smoke when you fire it up. It's not worth tearing into. Don't rip apart your car because it's got a little baby oil leak. If you got a massive oil leak, do it. If your car consumes a ton of oil, do it. But if you're putting 2 or 3 quarts of oil in summer and you're only putting, you know, a few thousand miles on it, don't worry about it. Just leave it. Just leave your car together. Don't blow it apart thinking you're gonna restore the thing. I find so many nice cars that are torn apart in a million pieces because somebody was gonna restore it when all it needed was like a ball joint or a radiator, something silly, a windshield. People just took it apart into a million gazillion pieces and started sanding on it and cobbling body filler and terrible rust repair, and then they lose pieces and then it gets stored improperly and the mice get into it. It's a shame. Just fix it. If you want a really nice car, you're gonna have to pony up and go buy a really nice car, and you will be money ahead to buy a done car as opposed to finishing your project. Yeah. Say it again. You're money ahead to buy the 72 Monte Carlo you want as opposed to fixing one up or restoring one. The only exceptions is if that car is like a super rare, like 4-speed car or a big block car or some one-of-one oddball that would be very valuable. Duff, there's a rooster right there. There's a big old dog running down the road. Come on, tubby yellow lab. Or if your car was like your grandpa's car, so it had like super sentimental value, kind of like this car. It's got sentimental value to me. But I'm not gonna restore this car. So the only 2 reasons to restore a car is if it's some crazy high dollar Hemi Cuda type thing, or it was your first car or your grandpa's car or something like that. But even at that, you're gonna spend a lot of money. But at least when you enjoy said car, you can say that was my grandpa's car. Otherwise, just go on Marketplace, find a nice car, look at it, find out it's not that nice, rinse and repeat 74 times until you actually find a nice car. Because yes, don't go to Barrett Jackson. Do not go to Barrett Jackson. Everybody thinks, oh, Barrett Jackson, like there's a criteria for letting cars in there, and maybe there is, but whatever it is not up to my criteria for what a nice car is. Now, this thing will not do a burnout. It's got 308 gears and big tall tires. It is a turd out of the hole. I know Chris Kraft down in Watertown, he's got multiple customers that have bought Barrett Jackson or auction cars. What is the guy's name down in Oklahoma City that does our tuning? I want to say Victor, but it's not. Big Russian guy. Same deal. He's like, I love when guys buy those cars because it brings me a ton of money because I get to fix all the stuff that is screwed up on them. And you can't test drive those cars. You can't sit down and have a meaningful conversation. You're at an auction, so you're in the spur of the moment, so you're gonna make probably poor decisions. I don't know. Avoid the auction cars. It's not the way to buy a car. The way to buy a car is to get out there and to crawl all over it and to look at it and talk to the guys who have the 72 Monte Carlos and ask them if A, they know where a good one is at or if they'd sell theirs, and then ask them the problem areas, you know, the rust behind the rear window, the rattles under the speaker deck, the quirky, cool things that are hard to find, like buckets in a console and tilt and factory tacks and big blocks and 4-speeds, you know. Ask them things that they would change. Talk to the people who got them. That's what you got to do. Those auction cars, don't do it. Do not do it. And the problem with those auction cars is, so say you buy it for X amount of dollars, then you got to pay fees. And then you still got to pay fees when you go and register it, which is kind of irrelevant, but a lot of people don't realize that there's like, you know, anywhere between 5 and 15% auction fees at these auctions that you got to pay on top of it. So if you pay, you know, $10,000 for a car, 10% fees, that's $1,000. You buy a $70,000 car, if you had 10% fees on there, that's another $7,000 in fees. And they sell a butt ton of $50,000 to $80,000 cars. So, yeah. If you want to go there and drink beer and have a good time and guess what stuff's going to sell for, by all means, knock yourself out. But don't buy the cars there, you know? Like, find the car that you're interested in that no sales and chase down the owner afterwards. And probably no sale for a reason, I guess. But talk to them, find out how to make a deal under the table, because that's just it. Those guys will probably sell the car for less than a no sales for, because they got to pay fees on their end. I guess I've never really ranted about auctions. And no, I have zero desire to go to one of those. I would rather sit at a farm auction. I would rather go walk through somebody's tree row looking at rusty 68 AMC Rambler Ambassadors than go to a Barrett Jackson or a Mecum auction. People that are there, no offense, are not the people that I want to talk to. I want to talk to guys that build them, not guys that have fancy Floyd Cotterpin button-up Hawaiian shirts. Get yours at mortske.com. I would rather go on like a garage tour and talk to guys that build their own cars. I don't want to talk to the guys that build the cars at those shows, unless they're like the guys that are building the really nice, like, numbers matching 68 Cutlass 442s and 67 GTO 4-speed, stuff like that. Those guys are probably pretty cool, but like the guys building like the retro mods and the big wheel pickups and jacked up SUVs, no thanks. Not something I want to do. Anyway, I think we're gonna wrap her up. So yeah, that's the tour of Shane's 1972 Monte Carlo, which is now my Monte Carlo, but it's still gonna be Shane's car. I guess that's what we're gonna call it. Like I said, I don't have any plans for this car. You know, maybe add a couple more creature comforts, maybe seal up the transmission, seal up the engine a little bit. You know, maybe we'll go through the heads or drop a different 350 in there, just because this one puffs a little bit when you start it up. But as far as driving it, it drives great. It doesn't use hardly any oil. Everything works kind of the way I want it to. So I really hate to screw it up. I just want to enjoy it and have fun. So a lot of people have been asking what the story was on this car. So that is the story on this car. A few people knew the story on this car. But anyway, if you got issues with thinking about suicide, call 988. It's a 24/7 hotline. It's confidential. Go ahead, reach out. It's always there. It's free. Check it out. Unfortunately, it's an epidemic in America, especially with young males, and that's too sad. Shane was, I think, 42 or 43. He was far too young. But we are gonna keep his legacy running with this car. Like I said, there will be no price and availability in the video description. The only way I'm getting rid of this car is if we could trade into a Chevelle, and then it'll be Shane's Chevelle. It's got a nice ring to it. So if you wanna get rid of a Chevelle and you wanna get into a Monte Carlo, hit us up, mortskerepair@gmail.com. Otherwise, we're just gonna enjoy this car. You're gonna see it in the background. This is a great car for running and getting lunch. Chin and I have put quite a few miles on it. It's got a back seat you can haul 4 people with pretty comfortably. It's got a big trunk in the back so you can take all kinds of stuff with you. Maybe we'll take it on some road trips. I don't know. I don't have much plans for it. We're just gonna store it over the winter and drive it when it's nice out and enjoy it, as old cars should. So thank you very much for watching. Check out our other videos. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Go check out the merch at mortske.com. Remember, it doesn't matter, you get it done as long as you're having fun. First gen Monte Carlos, real fun.